Well, Coach Kim Elders, welcome. We get to spend a little bit of time talking about your career and just kind of digging into what the last almost 30 years has been like for you. How did your career at Cornerstone get started?
Well, let me tell you the roundabout way to that. I started my teaching career at Granville Public School. Taught there for 3 years in elementary, loved it. And then some people from my church started the new school called Freedom Baptist. And I went there, and God directed me there. I knew that. And they were connected to North Point at that time. So I was a JV coach at North Point under Tom Martin. Tom Martin played basketball here, and eventually he came over here and became the AD and basketball coach, and he asked me to be his assistant. So that's a roundabout way of saying that's how I got here. But in the end, it was God directed me here.
Awesome. So all these years, why stay at Cornerstone?
That God just led me here, and there was no reason for me to leave. I did have a couple opportunities to leave or to interview for other jobs, but God kept me here for a reason, and I believe that He called me to Cornerstone, and it's been a terrific ride. So there was no reason for me to leave. I love it, and I still love it.
Oh, that's wonderful. Your greatest joy in coaching. Talk a little bit about that.
Working with young men like you, who are now grown men. You already get me emotional. Yeah, that's what it's about. Working with the players of my team who come in at all different levels spiritually, and you just want to work in their lives. Let God work in their lives and try to be an example to them, and then you see them leave, young men ready to go out and impact the world for Christ, and they end up like you with families and a career and making an impact for Christ. So to me, that's the greatest joy, of just working with young men and just trying to build into their lives.
Well, you certainly changed my life, and I think obviously all these players that you've had come and go, it's just tremendous talent that's come through Cornerstone. And, again, as you talk about these young men growing, obviously you've got a tremendous amount of them, but how has your faith grown here at Cornerstone?
My faith has grown a lot. God has brought me through this journey and just taught me so much about myself, about Him, and I hope, as I look back, that I've grown. I think I've grown, but there's been tests along the way, and God certainly throws tests at us, but He's brought me through it. My faith, my eyes have always been on Him, and this is His program. I've always said, this is your program. You bring the players that you want to this program. There's a verse, Psalm 127:1, except the Lord build a house, they labor in vain that build it. So I've always turned this over to God, and it's been His program, and but He's grown my faith, by leaps and bounds through 30 plus years now.
So Coach, obviously your family, obviously you start to reflect on Holly and the kids and the grandkids, and talk a little bit about how families kind of impacted you throughout this journey here at Cornerstone.
Well, I couldn't do it without, the support of my wife and my family. She's a champion. She puts up with a lot, especially when we lose.
Yeah.
And the long hours, being gone for games, practices, recruiting. She's a champion. She is a warrior, and I couldn't do it without her. And she's my biggest cheerleader, and she's behind me 100%. And the kids, they all come back, and now I got Jackson, my grandson, coming back.
Yeah.
And loving it. But it's family. I couldn't do it without the family, and I wouldn't want to do this without my family's support. So they're behind me 100%, and I'm so appreciative of that. So yeah, I've got a great family, and my wife is something else.
Yeah. Well, Coach, over all these years I've known you, you've always said that it's about God's program, and obviously there's been tremendous growth as I've seen your faith grow, but kind of going back to some of the players, you mentioned, the players and seeing them grow and become the men who they are. Talk about your players, like, the Jared Crandalls, some of the first guys like that, Mark Zichtermans, Wes Hudson, Kyle Steckinga. I could go on and on, but talk about some of those players that you were, just really enjoyed coaching, and, just tremendous talents.
tremendous talents, and the list goes on and on and on. I think it all started with Jared Crandall, and you were fortunate enough to play with him your freshman year.
Yeah.
And things just started changing for us. We got on the map, we started winning. He set the scoring record for the state of Michigan. Just an unbelievable player, and he was a joy. He was a joy to coach. He just did everything. It's just a 6'1" guard that could score on anybody at any time. And then, I want to put you on that list too. I mean, you were on that list along with, Brad Tilma and Matt Meckes and Mike Long. We can't leave those guys out.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys pretty much turned the program around in '98 because we got left out of the tournament, beat Bethel twice, and they won the national championship.
Yeah.
And we didn't get invited, but that put a fire in you guys.
Yeah.
And '99 was
we were on a mission that year.
We were on a mission that year.
Yeah.
But it started with Jared, and then you talk about Mark Zichterman, who was on that team.
Yeah.
Probably the ultimate stretch four we've ever had, because he could shoot it, he could post up, he could bring the ball up for us, he could pass. I mean, he was just a terrific player. And,
Yeah.
what a career he had, over 2,000 points. So, Wes Hudson, again, once in a lifetime guard. No one worked harder than Wes. No one competed harder than Wes, and he was a terrific player and just a joy. And then Kyle Stenga, I mean, you talk about once in a lifetime player.
Yeah.
That's him. So, I've had some tremendous players. God has blessed us with tremendous players.
A crazy amount of players.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Coach, 1,000 games. I mean, again, obviously just had that, and you started to kind of reflect back now just a little bit after a few days. What does that game, 1,000 games, mean to you?
That's a good question. I think it's just another game. I don't know. I think people are making it bigger than it really is. To me, it's just another game. We're gonna go into this game. We'll be playing Lords that day, and that's my focus is on that game and not on 1,000. But that just 1,000 means I've been around a long time, and I'm getting older, and but it also means that God has blessed our program because of the success we've had, and that's kept me going. Is how He's allowed us to be successful. But that is, I mean, 1,000 games is a lot of games. When you go into coaching, you never think, well, I'm going to be around that many years and coaching 1,000 games. But I guess we're here now, and so yeah, I guess we'll look forward to it on Saturday.
Yeah, it's a big number, big number. Coach, all the championships, you've had a tremendous amount of championships and 3 national championships, and could you talk a little bit about what each of those have meant to you?
Well, the first one, which you were on in '99, was special because it was our first one. What a great team. I mean, you guys, if we got scored on, we were scoring like 2 seconds later. It was amazing. You guys played so well together, and it was an incredible game that we won.
Yeah.
At Bethel, against Bethel, and double overtime, and those 2 shots that Ryan Bales hit from beyond the 3. But
yeah,
that was special because it was our first, and you guys hit 27 free throws in a row, which is a miracle. Not a miracle, but it's amazing that's how we won the game.
Yeah.
But that was a great team, and the 11 team was also special. Those guys came in, Dom and Caleb Simons and Kelvin DeVries. They took it on the chin for like 3 years, and finally they broke through. They got to the Elite 8 their junior year, and then their senior year. It's just was a great year for them, and they played so well together. And we were small. We didn't have anybody big. Caleb's our biggest guy at at 6'5", but it was just a team that really worked well together and was focused. And then the 15 team. I mean, that was a special team with Kyle and Corey, who's now my son-in-law, and Ben, and what a great team. Mike was on that team, Mike McLaughlin, and that team was focused and determined, and we went through that tournament pretty easily. And in fact, the championship game was
blowout.
Yeah, it was one of the easier ones. I mean, it's easier to enjoy when you've got a nice little lead that you can sit on. But all three were special. But we had other teams. You know, our three Final Four teams, 01, 02, 03 were very special with, you know, Biz and Vanderpool and Tillman and Fultus. Those teams, one of those teams should have won something.
Yeah.
And then, you know, people say the 06 team was maybe the best team we ever had, you know, with Brandon Voorhees and Jimmy Cochran and John Friend and, you know.
We've talked about that.
Yeah, that was a great team. Obviously we got knocked out, I think, in the Elite Eight after having a huge lead in that game. And then, you know, the 17 team, we went back Kyle's junior year and got to the finals.
Real close.
Got close, but wasn't good enough. But that was, so we've had other teams that have certainly been incapable of winning it all.
So, Coach, you know, going back to Bethel, you know, you talked about Bethel. You've had some pretty good rivalries with them. And, you know, one of the things that I always wanted to know was, did you think his foot was on the line in that 99 game?
Absolutely. You know, there's no doubt. And they still talk about the foot to this day. But, you know, the ref was right there. You know, it's a big play. I mean, he hits that three. I think you bumped him out a little bit, if I recall.
A little bit.
Yeah, but yeah, he was on the line, and you know, we won the game. They tackled Mike on the next play, brought him down, faking a charge. He had to get up and catch. Actually, I think he caught the ball on his knees.
Yeah,
and
they pulled him down. That's right.
Yeah, and stepped up and hit those free throws
finished them off
like we did. Yeah, we hit, like I said, 27 in a row that game.
Yeah, it's incredible. Talk about some of those big battles. You know, like I said, obviously back when I was around in the 90s with Fred Smith, you know, the Mike Lightfoots, and I'm sure other coaches that you've gone up against over the years. You know, talk about some of those battles with those coaches.
Siena Heights was, as you know, you were part of those.
Yeah.
That to me, this day is still, that's the rivalry that's the biggest.
Yeah.
Those were wars. You know, just going down there, they were really good. And those were battles. And that rivalry, to me, is the greatest that we've ever had. Battling with Fred Smith, he got a little crazy at times. You know, he would
shirt untucked,
throw his coat off, and and going down there was not easy because you always had the baseball team sitting underneath our hoop and just going crazy on our guys and even on me. And it was a great rivalry for many, many years. You know, second to that would probably be the Davenport rivalry that we had going with Coach Paddock for several years.
Yeah.
I mean, those were wars as well, and so those are kind of hand in hand, two of the biggest rivalries we ever had. You know, there's a time when Aquinas was really, really good under Coach Hammer, and 3 or 4 years in there, we had a huge rivalry going there. So we've had some great rivalries, and I've gone up against some great coaches.
Yeah. You know, Coach, I kind of reflecting on some of your individual honors, you know, inducted into the NAI Hall of Fame 2019. 3-time NAI NABC National Coach of the Year 3 times, 99, 15, 17. You're 99 NABC and BCAM Coach of the Year, 1996 NCCAA National Coach of the Year, and, you know, WAC Coach of the Year numerous times, 8 times I think it is. Talk about those individual honors, and I already know what you're going to say. It's God, but obviously there's a lot of practice and discipline that you put in to make those teams great, but kind of reflect on some of those individual honors for yourself.
You don't get those honors without having great players and great teams. So had we fallen short on some of those, I wouldn't have been Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
So again, it goes back to the players and just I mean, God has blessed our program beyond measure with great players. So those, I don't care about them.
Yeah.
But those come with great players.
Yeah. I mean, again, Coach, you bring up the players and obviously your team accomplishments, you know. 3 NAI Division II National Championships, 1 NAI Division II National Runner-Up, 4 NAI Division IV Fab Fours, 5 NAIA Division II Elite Eights, 11 WAC regular seasons, 10 WAC championships. When you reflect back on the individual and these teams that you've had, what stands out the most? I mean, again, if you could kind of reflect back.
just, again, it goes to the players, and the players played well together. They loved each other. They liked each other. It was a family, and I would say there was teams that were bigger, faster, stronger than us, but our teams played together and loved each other, and I think that's what made us, special. Is it's a family. You're still part of this great family that we have, and so to me, it was all of that because we had guys that they bought in. I mean, you came off the bench. Remember that?
I do.
Not to your liking.
Yeah.
But you came off the bench. We're an All-American. That's what this program's been about. Guys sacrifice.
Yeah.
So that's, to me, all of those things happened because of great players buying in to what we're about, sacrificing for each other and loving each other.
Coach, I mean, again, I think about the blessings that God's given you and Cornerstone University. You mentioned these players, and I start to think about all of them bought into you. And these players that you've had over the years did buy into you is because you invested into them, believed in each of those players. To me, that was the one thing that I noticed right front and center in my time here at Cornerstone. But when you think and reflect on the players that you've impacted, we've talked about the men that you've had over the years. You still have many, many tight friendships with a lot of the players. Talk a little bit about the friendships after basketball, because as you know, it's come and gone. Talk a little bit about that.
It is. You come and go. You were here for 4 years and you're gone. It's those friendships that are, it goes beyond basketball. Basketball brought us together. Basketball brought you here. We would have never known each other if it weren't for, this great game of basketball.
Yeah.
But just seeing you guys, graduate, and again, like I said before, growing up and having your own families and your own vocation and getting involved in the community and the church. But just seeing you guys come back and sit in stands, and that's pretty cool. So,
yeah, it is very cool.
But yeah, it's friendships that you develop. As a coach, you're not their friend necessarily. You're there to teach them, mentor them. But after they graduate, you can have that friendship, and you and I have that friendship, and it's pretty special.
It is, yeah. Coach, when you think and reflect on the NAIA Hall of Fame, that's where you find yourself. Talk a little bit about that and what that's meant to you, and just, how has things changed over the years from when you first started to you being in the Hall of Fame now?
I always say it's just, again, the players, the fact that I'm old, a lot of that had to do with me being in the Hall of Fame. But, it's a great honor. It's come and gone. I don't even think about it. But again, to me, it's all about this school that supports, athletics. I've had a tremendous administration that's believed in me and supported us and given us what we've needed to be successful. So to me, it's all about, again, the players who have allowed me the privilege of coaching them and allowing me to be put into the Hall of Fame. So to God be the glory. That's all I can say. I'm so thankful for the journey I've been on and how God He led me here, as I said before, and just given me the strength to carry on throughout the years. It's been a phenomenal journey for 30 plus years.
That's awesome, Coach. For all the guys part of the championships,
I know where you're going.
Question's still there. Everybody wants to know which one was the best.
And what do I keep telling you? I can't say that. I really can't say that without. I think I know in my heart, but I can't say it. They were all great. Every one of those teams was special and had strengths, had some weaknesses. Your team didn't play as great a D, but you could put the ball in the hole. Mm-hmm. That 11 team, was a little bit better defensively and didn't put the ball in the hole as much. And then, you know, with Kyle and that team, they did a little bit of both. So all three were great teams. I'm not going to go there. You've tried to put me there before. But,
as all the other teams have, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you guys can fight that out. I would say suit it up and go at it and see which one wins right now.
It's going to be a little bit tough. Yeah.
Yeah, three great teams.
Yeah.
I don't want to put one ahead of the other.
Yeah. Now that you have a chance to look back at your career, what's next?
Doing what I'm doing until I lose that desire. I've said if losing doesn't bother me as much, it's time to get out. But I'm going to do what I'm doing until it's time to go.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that answered that question or not.
Yeah, it is. Coach, thank you.
Thanks, Al.
Pleasure.
Love you, man.
Yeah, love you too. I was able to hang on.
Not me. Not me.
Yeah.
You always do that to me.
I know. I know.